Now, chronic wasting disease, an easily spreadable death sentence for deer across the country, is currently found in 30 states.
And while it isn't in New York right now, biologists are still closely monitoring this incredibly contagious disease.
That it become infected, it is always fatal.
Chronic wasting disease is a death sentence for deer, elk, and moose in North America. The disease is spread mostly through urine, feces, and saliva. Kevin Hines is a wildlife biologist with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation.
So it makes it very difficult to control this disease because you've got the environmental contamination that's there for 15 years or so. You've got deer-to-deer contact where they're shedding this virus in their saliva. So deer are very often licking each other. And they all kind of congregate in the same areas, so they're exposed to each other's feces and urine. It is a nightmare of a disease to try to control once you have it.
Symptoms of CWD include loss of balance, loss of appetite, uncontrollable drooling, and loss of the deer's fear of people, but they don't show in deer until 2 to 3 years after being infected.
You're probably unlikely to see that on the landscape because the deer would be either taken by a predator or die from getting hit by a car or taken by a hunter prior to that happening.
While New York currently doesn't have a known case of chronic wasting disease, Pennsylvania does, with several herds of both captive and wild deer infected.
It would be nice to put up a fence between areas that are infected and areas that are not. So there's not a heck of a lot we can practically do about that kind of situation.
The state can't control how deer move around, but they can help control the actions of people. Since 2005, New York has banned the importation of captive deer from out of state. They've also banned hunters from bringing whole deer carcasses into New York from another state. It's unlikely that a deer taken in New York has CWD, but Cornell University will test deer killed in the state for the disease for $65 per head. Reporting, I'm Kurt Martone, WENY News. Officials are still wondering whether chronic wasting disease can jump to people. We'll tell you what scientists know so far later this week on Good Morning Twin Tiers.